Hey, what's up? Hey,
Candice.
Sam, nice to
Good
meet you.
to meet you. Hey, gorgeous. How are you? Doing good. I opened the book, and there was a picture of my dad's burnt body clutching a steering wheel. You know, we knew my dad had gone into an hospital. We knew my dad was killed, and we knew he was burnt alive by Eugene de Kock. But in that detail, we had never heard. So I was still shocked. I work for an organization called AIM, and we are trying to eradicate. I was still just dazed. I think I maintained the same position. And my mother said, okay, I want to know why. Why my husband? And Eugene looked at us and he said, no reason. Okay. He actually helped my mom's case. So he was my mom's lawyer for sure. It was almost like someone kicked me in the stomach. It was the first moment where I didn't cry, but it was almost like a pain too deep to cry, because crying is an outwardly expression of pain. I couldn't cry. I was just paralyzed. And it was just so painful. So I was just like, okay, no reason. So my father would still be here, but there was no reason for him to die. And I sat back, and then they said, you know, does anyone else in the family have any more questions or want to know anything? I looked at him and I said, you know, Eugene, I want to say I forgive you. But before I do, I want to ask you one question. And he looked at me and he said, yes, anything.
Were you scared?
No. I was actually, for the first time, it was like my voice came out properly. And I was like, oh my God. And I said, do you forgive yourself? And he looked away, and the question kind of hit him, and he looked away, and he was kind of fishing for something, and he dabbed the side of his eye. And then he looked back at me and he said, every time a family comes here, that's one thing I hope they never ask. Then he said, when you've done the things I've done, how do you forgive yourself? And in that moment, I just broke down. Like, I just sobbed and I couldn't control it. It's like, I just cried and cried. For me in that moment, it wasn't even my own pain. It was the pain of both of us, you know, because I realized that there's nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's nothing I can do to take away his pain. There's nothing he can do to take away my pain. You know, and he's not a monster. He feels like I feel. You know, he's got a family like I've got a family. He's loved the way I've loved. You know, so I looked at him and I was like, even if he did say sorry, my dad's not going to magically appear. Even if I am angry, my dad's not going to appear. Even, you know, now I can see that this man is really broken by what he had done in his life, you know. And I know how difficult self-forgiveness is. And for me, that was why the question was so important. You know, anything less than that, I don't know if I would have had the same connection. I don't know. And I got up, and I was the closest to him, so I walked up to him. He was still sitting. And I said, would you mind if I gave you a hug? And he looked at me, and he was a little confused, like he didn't hear me properly, so he was like, sorry. Then he got up, and then I hugged him, and he said, you know, I'm so sorry for what I've done. And he said, your father would have been so proud of the woman you've become. And I was just like, oh, you know, and it was just, yeah, it was just a crazy moment. It was just, in that moment, it wasn't even, you know, it was just an accumulation of what my life was that had just come full circle. And I could live, I could go on, and I could, you know, move forward with my life. And I knew for a fact that I no longer held resentment towards this man.
Ik kan me niet voorstellen dat je een grotere haat voor iemand zou kunnen hebben als dat zij voor Eugene had. Hè? Voor de man die haar vader op straat in de fik heeft gestoken. Weet je wel? Als je daar overheen kan, dan denk ik dat we elke haat wel kunnen overwinnen. Hè? Als zij die persoon uiteindelijk kan omarmen en kan zeggen van nou, ik vergeef je, dan moeten wij dat toch ook kunnen. Met z'n allen.
Ik denk wat mij het meest raakt in haar verhaal is dat zij zelf eigenlijk eraan onderdoor ging tot aan haar, nou, laten we zeggen 13e, dat ze in één keer heel erg ziek werd. En volgens mij heb je dan twee typen mensen. De ene die zegt, nou, ik word van binnen opgefroten, ik kap ermee, ik haat het leven, ik ga naar links. En dan heb je mensen zoals Candice.
You were asked to strip down and you had no choice.
So degrading.
So degrading.
So how do our generation, how do they view the apartheid? Do they talk about it?
It's difficult because you know, I had to get educated on apartheid because of what happened to me and what happened to my family. But generally, because it's not something that's taught, you get like very mixed reactions.
Yeah.
So some people would be like, "Oh, it's time we get over it," you know, because
Already?
I mean, 26 years, and you're like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
are we going to get over it? It was such a deeply oppressive system, you know.
Yeah.
It's not because they're ignorant, it's because they also don't understand what happened,
Yeah.
you know, and their parents told them, oh, black people lived here and white people lived there.
Yeah.
You know,
Also,
that's
like,
simple.
I don't know if you have the saying in English, but like ostrich politics, you know, you
Yeah.
stick your head in the sand and you kind of don't want to know
Ignore
about it
it.
because life is okay, you know, you don't want to.
And if you stick
address
your
the
head
pain.
out, then you've
Yeah.
got to know, right?
Yeah.
And you can't go back in. That's
Yeah.
the issue.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what the problem is, that we've been so like not taught our country's history that it's becoming so difficult to actually address it in a factual way. And so when people talk about their stories and they talk about how aggressive and really it was such a violent system of oppression, then people are like, wait, what do you mean it was violent?
Yeah.
You know? And then
that was my reaction when I saw your video. I was
Yeah.
like, I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was
yeah.
that bad and that, well, pointless. You know, like I
that's
don't know,
exactly
like,